All right, so now to expand on this point more, if you were to take a closed loop movement or action that has been trained and has been solidified inside of the peripheral nervous system, and you were to apply it to an external function, right? And you were to commit to that function. Now you're applying you're applying a trained uh, movement that has been solidified to some sort of external force. So now think about how you could utilize that in terms of your day to day life and like what you want to progress to and what you want to do. Right? You can literally create different types of functions, external functions, or apply. You can literally apply, you know, movements or controlled or established movements to external functions that you need to do or want to do, right? And what you want to output to, right? So say maybe if you're right, if you're you know writing a book, or if you want to create something, or whatever type of external force or whatever that you want to do, maybe even like commit to a service, right? Open a service. Now if you're able to learn learn specific functionalities, right, within the peripheral nervous system, and you were able to create solidified actions, right, pre-recorded actions that you could just be able that will just be able to be committed automatically. Now you can focus yourself on the external output of what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And have and what you're trying to do, what you're trying to build, or what you're trying to progress to, and have the the train function, the closed loop train function, hit all by itself, reflexively, automatically, perfectly every single time, right? So that requires a deep focus on what it is that you're trying to do, right? And it's like once you learn the closed loop training is completed, right? The closed loop function is completed. Now it's a matter of being able to focus specifically on that external task that it can be applied to, right? Or that that external force that you can apply to. It's almost like performance, right? So for instance, if you had a business that you needed some manual labor towards, right? Maybe you needed to actually be able to commit to doing something, right, in order for the business to run. You would train your body to have, closed loop functions that would be able to reflexively hit automatically while you focus and commit your focuses to the establishment and the structuring and the crafting of the business. Right. So this is the importance of this little tiny, or this last aspect of time and attention, right? When we talk about time and attention, um, it's the ability to be able to focus keenly on the specific things that you're trying to create, what I'm saying, while having established functions and established normalities or execution or programs, established programs work for you, right? So that's the key thing, right? That's the important thing in terms of really being able to create, and just being able to focus on the creation aspect of something, right, and the successful, crafting out of something on a consistent basis, right? So that's what we want to talk about, and we want to use an example and talk about, say, for instance, like for instance, if it was, say, you were to combine a bunch of different things as opposed to art. You're trying to combine art. You're trying to combine training. You're trying to combine the aspect of you know maybe stories, and try to make some sort of training regimen that you can follow through a story, and really be able to get the full concept of what you're learning and actually apply it to day-to-day life, right? And this is the structure of what you're trying to create, right? Or if you're trying to create something where people can follow through a story and learn real technical functions or real training functionalities that can actually help them on a day-to-day life through the compartmentalization of a story, you know what I'm saying? And through the compartmentalization of a cartoon or entertainment, now, or a cartoon, now you're able to really now you're really able to utilize these functions in terms of the peripheral nervous system creating functionalities and creating closed loop functions, that will allow you to be able to focus, that will run automatically. The programs that will run automatically that will allow you to commit your sole, focus on a specific thing while these programs run automatically, right? And this is crucial, and this is important because say for instance that you know what is the like so what are some of these programs that you could use in order to create and utilize them for the purpose of creating business. But before you even get into that, let's talk about like the like this is important because now you know now we have a connection line from in between the closed loop motor neurons and motor control, closed loop motor control, and open loop motor control. There's a connection link, right? And this connection link, it has to be strong enough to maintain itself, because if it's not strong enough, then it could be interceded with interruption, interference, and with things that could possibly break the connection line from in between the closed loop motor control and the open loop motor control, or the actual functionality, or the concentration on what you're concentrating on, right? And so what are some ways in order for you to be able to strengthen that connection line between what you're doing, what you're trying to do, and like your craft, your vision, and basically and basically take that vision and that craft and be able to maintain that connection line, or actually have functions, closed loop functions and programs actually be able to run right and execute right without any type of interference, or disconnection. You know what I'm saying? So that is the important thing we want to talk about right now, is having that connection line, you know, trained and functioning strongly enough, that way no type of interference or interruption can bombard and hijack the connection line, right? So that is what we want to talk about. We don't want the connection line to be interceded, interrupted, interjected, right? Um, so this is you know what we want to do, right? We want to break that. We want to break that in that connection impediment, right? That connection interference, right? We want to break that. We want to stop having the connection line from what we train and what we do be interfered with, right? Because this is where the attack comes from, you know. So in order to be able to have a connection line like that from your closed loop motor control motor neurons and your open loop motor neurons, in terms of what you're actually focusing on, you have to be very, very dedicated into what you're looking at, and you have to recognize and perceive the applied function of these motor programs, right? These closed loop motor programs. You have to be able to see them, and the closed loop motor programs work automatically, but also being able to keep and maintain your open loop, uh, you know, uh, motor control. That way, you can maintain a full balanced connection line, right? So it's really all in your open loop motor neurons and your open loop connection, to be able to maintain the proper understanding of what you're doing. And the more conscious you become, and the more specific and detailed you become and focused on in the open loop motor control, or the vision, or the more specific and detailed you become in the in the craft itself, in the every detail of it, and progress yourself to it, the more fluently, or the stronger the connection line, or the better the variability, the more variability you have, or the more variability your um your closed loop motor neurons have, in order for them to intercede and interject and program and execute properly into your open loop vision. So that is the most important thing, right? We're creating variability by first initially focusing more and more detailed on the specific concept or craft itself or vision that you're trying to progress to, or the action that you're trying to do, right? The external action that you're trying to do or affect, right? The more detailed you become in it, the more like we said, the more detailed you become in it, the more variability your closed loop motor neurons have, um, in order to interject and intercede itself into those open loop commands, right? So that is the one thing that is very important, is um, creating variability, and then the execution of that variability, or the execution of that command and that action, and the reciprocation of it, and the reinforcement of it over and over and over again, is what will allow the connection line to be built and to be strengthened and to be solidified, right? So when we talk about strengthening the connection line between uh, the open loop motor neuron, or the vision, and the craft, right? The vision and what you're trying to do, and the goal, right? The goals, right? Um, the visual goals, right? And the to the to the closed loop motor neurons, or the craft itself, or not the craft, the closed loop motor neurons, or the commands or programs that have been pre-built commands, right? The commands that you've already built in, right? The reflexive commands that you have built in, right? In order for those to flow and become more strengthening and more connected with the vision, and the open loop motor neurons, then now you have a stronger connection line between what you're doing, your vision, the open loop motor neurons, and the closed loop motor neurons, being the commands and built and pre-built actions that you have that you have set and have been and that you have programmed to operate and function automatically, right? This is important because now, if you can strengthen the connection line between the closed loop motor neurons and the open loop motor neurons, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Or did you pause again? Look, so the closed loop motor neurons and the open loop motor neurons are the stronger and connected that gets. Now you're more and more able to function um, and commit to commands automatically, directed towards the specific goals that you're trying to commit to, and the specific vision that you have now, right? Which is the idea, and that's the important thing, right? Now you can be able to progress to your goals and your visions and your dreams, or whatever, with with your body in perfect in perfect execution, or perfect implementation of those said goals, right? So that's the important thing, with motor neurons, and with closed loop neurons and open loop neurons. If you have a vision, right, you want to be able to strengthen the connection line from in between your open loop, control, and your closed loop control. And the way that you do that is by first initially establishing, more and more depth and detail of what it is that you're trying, or what it is that you're progressing to, say the craft or the vision itself. The more detailed and specific that you can get in the functionalities of that vision, the more variability you then gain for the closed loop motor neurons to insert themselves into the functionalities of the vision itself, right? But however, it's a balance because the closed loop motor neurons have to be established and put in place and have to be functioning in order for open loop motor neurons to be able to actually relieve stress and to be able to focus deeply and deeper into the vision itself. So it's a balance, and it's an important play by play in which you're developing commands that allow you to be able to function automatic to be that will allow you to be able to function in specific executions automatically, allowing the open loop motor neurons to be able to deeply and deeper focus on more detail, right, and gaining more control there, right. And the more control you gain there, and the more control you gain by the implementation of the closed loop commands, now you're gaining and developing a deeper connection line from in between both the closed loop motor neurons or closed loop commands and open loop commands, right? Or open loop motor neurons, right? So this is the importance of what we wanted to talk about today in this video, for the thousandth time. Um, and that's the important thing to know, right, in terms of developing this, right. So now the good thing about this is that when you have a vision, now you can properly execute the vision that you want to execute and the dream that you want to execute, right. And now you're in perfect alignment with your body, your motor, your closed loop commands are in perfect alignment. Now your body is in your peripheral nervous system is in perfect alignment with the vision and goals and your dream, right? And the functionalities of your dream now, right? And it's in perfect alignment, meaning that, as you move and as you step, as long as you're focused on the vision itself, things will hit themselves, hit automatically, right? And that's how, the development of, closed loop motor neurons or closed loop commands can help affect open loop commands, right? Or the vision and concept and dreams that you have. And yeah, that's going to conclude this. We're done here. And yeah, we out.